Whew. Okay, welcome to another week of Chiropractic Is Sexy. I am Dr. Paula Ruffin.
I'm Dr. Erica Peabody, and it's always good to see everybody. So glad to be here every week. And I'm super excited. I was just telling Dr. Paula, she puts the show together for us. And we have our mutual ideas, but it's so nice that it's put together. And I jump on here and I'm like, there's not an extra minute anywhere. So I'm wondering, my first question for everybody out there is, what happened to all the minutes in the week? How are we here again already? How does 30 minutes go by so quickly? What is happening?
What is happening? I think, we look at pictures from years ago and we're like, where did the time go? And yeah, so that happens day to day, week to week.
Yes.
Of course, when you're on vacation, time goes faster, right?
Yes. Sunny here today, which is awesome, which is like part of our topic of we're not to summer yet, but we're headed that way. And yeah, just wanted to sort of spark that off, but go ahead. Take it away.
Yeah, well, I was putting those notes together last week because you brought this up last week during our live stream. Yeah. And I started taking notes and I was like, that's a great topic because we had talked about when like our seasons of things, and your story was about an accountant, and she was like, oh yeah, well, I just stopped, the accounting season's over, so I can now start doing X, Y, and Z. And you had suggested to her, you just gave up a quarter of your life, 3 months of your life in a year. And that's when we spun that off into, well, who's going to be doing that during summer? Who does that during the holidays? It's so common. So I think this whole concept of taking your foot off the gas, when is it appropriate? When is it not appropriate? What are you neglecting when you take your foot off the gas? What are you neglecting if you're driving too fast into one area of life and neglecting another?
Mm-hmm.
Are you overcompensating in areas? So I loved this topic. And just going back to quick, when you asked about where does the time go, one thing everyone has time to do is hit the thumbs up button, like, and share, and subscribe.
Yes,
all of the things. So there you go.
No, so I saw her again yesterday, and because I see her weekly and I have for years, I can tell, like, yes, there's a mechanistic and there's objective criteria and all the things in the adjustment, but I've adjusted her for so long and weekly that it's taken, so tax season, so today's the 14th, so it's been a month, and it's taken her a month for her neck to start to release. I mean, it's releasing with every adjustment, but this time I'm not walking into like, I can't move at all. And that particular patient, but a few others as well, but that one is like, I am currently, so this is awesome too. I am currently making a plan for next winter, next tax season. She's like, I'm in the process of actually making that plan. And I love, there's a coach inside of our profession where he says, what's important now and what's important next. So there's those two, and that can probably be a whole entire call out itself. Yeah. What's important now is that she recovers her body. What's important next is that she makes a plan to not get that far off kilter to begin with. So, but I just, now that we're headed into like, now the sun's shining, let's have a margarita, and now let's have another, and now let's have another, and let's go out on the lake, and oh my gosh, there's chips and dip around. Oh my gosh. And then it's another quarter of the year. And you had said, when is it appropriate to take your foot off the gas pedal? I know two places, and one is sort of an iffy. The first place is 4th trimester. So after babe is born, so the next trimester, which they're calling it the 4th try, that's the time. So that's one time. The other would be like directly following like a major surgical procedure. But aside from that, it is freaking pedal to the metal. And if you're not living that way, you're going to be creating some issues for yourself.
Yeah. And I think when if we just use the analogy of driving and going pedal to the metal, that when you get up to speed, it's okay to coast a little bit. But then if you're doing 30 in a 70 mile an hour lane, you gotta pick it up. Because we've always had many conversations. If you've been following us for a while, you know that Dr. Erica and I, we are constantly driving. And when we're fully transparent, when we have said to you, yeah, I didn't feel great this weekend, or I was extra tired and I sat on the couch, I spent a day. This is when it's understanding when it is appropriate from a day-to-day perspective. I think when you're talking about fourth trimester or after a major surgery, we're talking about an extended period of time that is absolutely appropriate. And then what are the gaps of time throughout your week or month or even year that you're like, I need a moment. I need to not have my brain on. I have a friend who's her kids, she just went through a divorce, and there's a lot of family disruption. I'll just say that. And the kids are 14 and 12. And of course, dealing with the kids and their level of disruption with the divorce and then being teenagers. And, I told her, I said, because people want to diagnose her kids with things. Mm-hmm. And I said, remember when they're teenagers, their parents just went through a divorce. There's a whole nother place to live. At what point are we going to evaluate what they're going through? Like, this isn't about putting a diagnosis on the kid. And so I said, summer's coming up, and this is the time now we're going to take a detour. We're going to take a left turn. We're not going to be on screens. We're going to go for hikes. We're going to go to the beach. We're going to go. So now we start to look at what are other ways, what are other paths we can drive down that are then going to serve us. And she can go foot on the gas, but maybe in a more regulated way for those kids, and get them away from that day-to-day of stress of being teenagers in the divorce and the new house and all of that.
I was just thinking about a patient. So I was doing laser on her shoulder. So a lot of times different joints will show up, and I've been adjusting her for years, and I was doing laser up on the trap and then the biceps tendon in the front. And she is a go-getter. Like, she's a financial planner, but she's been in the industry for 40 years or something. She is aging in reverse, like many people that are doing it really well in their 50s and 60s and 70s. I think she's mid to upper 60s. You wouldn't know it. But so she's laying face down, and she says, I never do this. Because I'm on the inflammation setting, and she's got to lay there for 8 minutes. And it's, I'm hitting her cervical spine, then I moved it out to her trap and then down to the top of her shoulder after her adjustment today. And she's like, I'm like, it may be part of what's creating like this binding up. So there are I think every single day taking the foot off the gas is like, we should have at least 10 minutes, at least 15 minutes to sit and stare into outer space or something, because as adults we're driven like that, but also the kids, the 12 and 14-year-old you just talked about, it's like there's too much go. And then when we're
soccer, not school, homework
going, we pick up a phone. And so that's still a go. And she asked me, she was like, so tell me a little bit more about meditation. Am I supposed to not be thinking anything at all? And I said, no, not necessarily. I'm like, you can just let your mind go while you're laying here, having to be face down anyway. And just let your thoughts roll by you like clouds. So just let them go. You don't have to stop the thinking because we want to do a lot of things. Just try not to control the next part of now she's got 2 sons that are getting married both later this year. And a lot of pieces to put together. And so anyway, I said, just let the thoughts go by. And do you remember the guy during the TEDx in Pontiac? He was talking about, we need more bad ideas rolling out there.
Yes.
We need more ideas rolling out there, good, bad, or indifferent.
Yeah.
Loved that. So I'm like, just let them roll, but let them roll instead of trying to control it all.
Yeah. And I think going back to one of the other places that you take your foot off the gas completely and you put the car in park is when you sit in our chairs.
Yes.
When you get on our adjusting tables, because we don't want you coming in going 100 miles an hour. In fact, when you I was doing it all morning. Everybody's coming in today, just like full speed ahead. And I'm like, you need to stop talking. I get 3 minutes with
Shut your
you.
mouth.
I want you to take the next 3 minutes and breathe and not talk. Because what'll happen is, you're trying to palpate their neck and they're like, and then I was, and I'm like, we can't feel anything when you're just like, and then,
Your muscles.
and then all this stress flying off. I'm like, listen, I'm the only person in your day that's going to tell you to sit down, shut up, and rest. And you need to take advantage of that, because it might be the only 3 minutes in your day that is going to give you an opportunity to have that, like, slow down your thoughts. Again, maybe you're coming up to a pass and you're like, I'm going 100 miles an hour. Which way do I turn? Well, maybe you got to let your foot off the gas just a little bit to make that sound decision to take that turn. But does that mean the next 3 months, every day you go out on the boat and you're partying every day? No, no, that's like driving the car into the, over the cliff. We don't want to do that.
Right. No, I was saying to that same patient too, because she said, when it's sunny out and it's summertime, like I do sit out on my patio and I do take some quiet time. I'm like, is your phone in your hand, or whatever. And, I was just thinking about something else that, I just lost it. Anyway, I was telling her, I said, so on Sundays around 4:00, now I know you're revving up for your show on Sunday, but on Sundays, I try to be home and I try to set some time aside, and I would love to have 4 full hours to just stare into outer space, not to be on my phone, maybe have some light music going on, but having some time to think and having some time to project and having some time to let those thoughts go by. We're not coming up with any new ideas if we don't have time for the ideas to bubble up to the surface. So, but in saying that, the rest of the Sunday is me with a freaking pedal to the metal with my health, with my healing, with my water intake. I'm going back to food prepping this weekend. I've been in kind of a frenzied state as well in my world, food prep, getting my walking in, hanging with the dogs and all of that. But it's like, I just need specific time in my calendar set aside to look out into outer space, stare out into space.
It's one of my favorite things. I do that every morning. Go sit outside.
I know. I love your outside posts you've been doing lately, where you get up, go outside, make your coffee, go outside.
Yeah. And just kind of hang out there. It's been a little too cold. I was out there this morning, but yesterday,
it was
so just to make sure that everybody's connecting to the analogy of what we're trying to do when we talk about pedal to the metal on your health, and what Dr. Erica just shared is that it doesn't mean she's in the gym, like it doesn't mean going 1,000 miles an hour. It just means being 100% intentional about the things you do. So if sitting and doing nothing and staring into outer space helps you fuel your health, if drinking more water, if getting proper rest, that's pedal to the metal. So understanding that it's the intention, it is what you are not neglecting. What are you making sure that you are being very mindful to make sure that you're not going to neglect it. So it's your health, it's your food, it's your diet, it's your water, it's your sleep, it's your chiropractic care. And then you have all the other things that, what are you going to allow into your life that could then derail all those other things, which is, it's summertime, it's party time. I know Lily said it's with the seasons in other countries. Doesn't matter. I don't care what your season is. Everyone has a season. Like I said, the accountant, her season was the first quarter of the year. So whatever your season is from wherever you are tuning in, you all know you have a season that is a little more, it pulls you in a different direction. So again, if we just talk about the holidays in general, the parties, the cookies, the cakes, it's winter here and I don't know, is it winter in December in Australia? No, I think it's summer, right? I think we're flipped. But anyway, so
summer though, do they do Christmas in summer? They must.
Well, it would still be December 25th. So
Yeah,
they
and
do
it was
Christmas
summer.
and summer. I know, that's
I never
bizarre.
thought about that. I never thought about that. Thank you for
I
bringing
know, I
that up.
never did either. It's an
So
interesting thought.
Santa's on a sandy sleigh instead of a
Santa's on
snowy.
the beach. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So wherever you're tuning in from, there's a season, and people will often say, they're like, oh, Dr. Eric and I hear this all the time, and they're like, oh, but I have a wedding coming up. Oh, but I have, people will derail their health for a wedding that's coming up 3 months from now. And there's a shower, and there's a this, and there's a that. And it's like, well, what, it's one day. The wedding is one day. Why are you taking, 3 months to say that you can't commit to yourself?
I was
Find them on Bondi Beach.
Yeah, I was thinking about, so the greatest part about summer is that we can't take our foot off the pedal when it comes to our health, no matter what. But the greatest part is that summer is like, take your layers off. It's easier to get outside. We've got the sun on our side. We've got the energy of everything coming back to life on our side. So in wintertime, exactly opposite, we still have to keep our foot on the gas pedal, but it's harder, right? So I want you all, whoever's listening, to think about how simple it is to get things going right now and take advantage of the fact that things are coming back to life, that you can get outside, that the sun is shining. It's shining on our skin and our brains and our eyeballs, all the things. And it makes it a whole lot easier and simpler to do the things. And I was also thinking about, we kind of touched on this a little bit too, is like when you have an opportunity that comes up, like last Saturday. So Dr. Paul and I ended up at a derby party, and we went to the physical therapist's office to like go to his welcome party and all of that. And we weren't doing all of that from an empty tank, right? And we chatted a little bit about it last week, but it was like, my whole goal, what I saw for my afternoon, turned into something very different, but it's because I was fueled, because I was hydrated, because I was slept, because I was nourished, because I was all the things. So when opportunities come up, we're already trained. We're already ready. We're at the ready. And so these are the reasons, like when we have an injury, but we're already ready. We're already in the healing mode already. And so like I'm noticing now, as people go in for joint replacements, like they're getting them to the physical therapist 8 weeks leading up to the surgery to get them ready for the opportunity to have good healing on the other side. So where can you, around in your life, make sure that you're at the ready? You're like at the blocks, like ready to take on life. That's really how I look at the days. And I also want to be ready at the blocks when my patients show up in the doors. I don't want to be like stumbling in, yawning, like not fully ready, like my hair's a disaster still. I'm trying to like get myself ready. I never show up that way. I'm at the blocks ready for my patients because of all the things that I do on the daily to make sure that I'm ready for those.
Well, it keeps us strong mentally, physically, emotionally. I'm always in shock, I guess, if that's the right word, when people don't take the opportunity as the weather starts to turn, if it ever flipping does here in Michigan.
It is.
I know. I'm like, listen, you guys, I'm a very happy and optimistic person, but this weather makes me angry, like angry. I'm freezing sitting here right now. Anyway,
I'm warm today, but it has been freezing.
Yeah. But so when we start to come into the nicer weather, I'm always in shock of the fact that people do not take advantage of. So for people who like want to start exercising and they use the excuse of winter. Okay, it's summer. Let's move into it. Or people who are sort of like, weekend warrior exercisers. And then summer comes and then they derail and they do something else. And I mean, I've seen this over and over again, that as we start getting into the fall, and I'll ask my patients, well, why weren't you out walking during the summer? Oh, we had vacations and we had this and we had that. And they make all these excuses to not take advantage of the time that can help you lift off to better your health. Like, don't miss this opportunity to put the pedal to the metal during summer and fuel your health properly. The sunshine that we need to be getting, there's better quality foods. We've got access to fresh fruits and vegetables, farmers markets. Like, it's a plethora of health right in front of your face. So in my opinion, there are no excuses for not utilizing summer to regain your footing and getting back on track with your health.
So speaking of farmers market, so ours starts actually today. Good, lucky for them. It's beautiful today.
Yeah.
But what I think, and I don't know if you're noticing it, it's like, so communities, it almost feels like the communities, the close ones got together and said, I'm going to choose Thursday, you choose Friday, I'm going to do Saturday, I'm going to do Sunday. So it's literally almost like you could shop a farmer's market every week, because it's almost, I don't want to call it like a grocery store, but there's so many going on that if you just tap into, I'm sure there's a website out there, you could tap into like Farmers Markets Michigan or something and figure out where your local ones are. Take your calendar and put it right in your calendar. Not only does it help you, they say that eating organic obviously is super important, but eating fresh out of the earth is even more beneficial. And a lot of these small farms, they're not going to get certified organic. They're just not going to go through that process. But the stuff that you can get at the farmer's market that still has like dirt and grain and like graininess on it, because it was just pulled from the earth in the last day or so, is the most beneficial thing you could possibly be doing for yourself on this season. So I want to challenge you to get out there, look around for the farmers markets. Thursday in Fenton, I think Holly is Sunday. So I have those 2 days that I have a potential to be able to do that. Yes, I want to eat organic as much as possible, but I would actually prefer figuring out who's doing clean farming and clean growing at their farms, and they're not certified, so they can't technically call themselves that. So think about that, figure it out for yourself, and then put the pedal to the metal on making sure that you're supporting your local people, you're supporting your community, you're actually putting food on these farmers' tables for their families. And it's so cool how that cycle goes around. So maybe like I'm buying from a farmer and they're turning around getting chiropractic care from me. I'm buying from them. You know what I mean? Like that $1 just goes in a circle. I love that.
That's perfect. Yeah. And when you go to the farmers markets, it's really easy for people to think that just because it's in a farmer's market that it's organic. That is actually not true.
Right.
And again, that doesn't mean it hasn't been grown sustainably, but there are farmers that I will purchase from who they do spray, they're minimally spraying. I don't prefer that, but then there's other farmers that I see, and there's one guy at our farmers market, and they go down to the produce terminal down at Eastern Market, and they buy produce from there and they put it out on the table because they sell flowers. And he told me one year, he said, oh, we just do this to attract people over so they'll buy the flowers. And he's selling Cal Organic. So I'm not buying organic green onions that came from California when I could buy green onions from the guy who did one spray in March and just picked them that morning. Yeah. Like, you have to think of the footprint that your food came from. Right. And to your point, it's like that supports local. Like, you just have to ask better questions. And then also getting certified is very expensive. The red tape involved is ridiculous. And so, support the people who are just doing it on their own and not, I don't care if they don't have a certification. We just want to know, has it been grown sustainably? And, and please stop buying watermelons in January. They come from halfway around the world.
Don't do that. I don't care how good it sounds. Actually,
can we just stop all of that? Yeah. And this is also the time, we say like eat local. Eat as local as you can. So local now is going to start to be hyper local to your local community and the farms. And then as the seasons go on, it becomes regionally, and then it becomes by state, and then is it the US? And then, so, there are some things like I'll buy Cal Organic in the middle of December because everything's coming from California if I want green onions, but that's not my first choice coming up here. So those are just also things about how do you fuel yourself? Like, I'm still thinking this is still put, pedal to the metal on how I take care of my health during the summer. I have different parameters that I will make sure that I'm focusing on from summer through each season.
Yep, that makes sense. And the one thing that I'm noticing is it feels like there's more frozen, well-built, well-fed meats that are showing up to the farmers markets. And so when you put something, not to all of them, not every station, but it's nice that they're coming to our local communities or bringing from, short distance that they've, raised humanely, slaughtered properly, didn't feed them a whole bunch of crap, as they were raising them, and then are now bringing them in. That we just have a lot more options than we have. And quite frankly, gas prices are astronomical. And so you want to eat locally anyway, make your radius smaller anyway. So it's there's a lot of considerations, but if we can, so anything that's alive you put in your body is going to add life. Anything that's processed and has a shelf life, like we're not looking for shelf life bodies. Like I want to live well. I want to live long, but I don't want it to be because I have preservatives filling my body and who knows what else in inflammation and all of that. So, and also just getting adjusted through this time. Like a lot of times people have a little bit more time in their schedule because, their school's out or whatever, get the kids in, get the kids started, like to give them 3 months of incredible chiropractic care while they're not in sports and running their like rampant. This is an awesome time to prep for fall season when they go back to the classroom, and they'll be healthier and stronger for it. So pedal to the metal with the kids right now, for sure.
But Dr. Erica, my child doesn't have neck or back pain. They don't need a chiropractor.
Yeah, they do. I know. We're talking so nervous system lately. It's just been awesome. Like the conversation, like people are talking vagal tone and blah, blah, blah. Like that's a new fad. Like chiropractors have been working with increasing vagal tone, decreasing sympathetic overdrive, like getting the body nervous system regulated for 130 years, people.
Yeah.
130 years. So nervous system regulation, when you're out there and you're like, what can I do to regulate my nervous system? Pull right into the chiropractic parking lot, get your ass onto a table, and we got your back, pun intended.
I'm really hoping that we are seeing a shift. I know that for me, for us, for being here and my patient base, and I'm gonna give a lot of credit to Erica, you and I doing this show for the past 3 years, is that my verbiage, my talk, the way I educate my patients is so laser focused on nervous system dysregulation. I've honed it in. Not that I've spent 28 years doing this, and I have always talked about nervous system regulation, but it's, I don't know, people are really connecting with it. And it's really cool to see that people they're still coming in originally for neck and back pain. But when I explain why you've had this pain for 20 years because your nervous system doesn't feel safe to heal, and they're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. I'm a single mom and I've got a special needs son. And yeah, you've been running from a saber-toothed tiger for 20 years. Let's calm that bitch down. Like and chiropractors are the only profession to be able to do that. So I think it's been a beautiful thing. I feel like just our messaging here week to week has allowed me to be able to reach more people. I know you, I'm sure just with that laser focused messaging, we are in a completely dysregulated world, and we have got to, the fear mongering that's out there. We've got this whole new virus that they're trying to scare the hell out of people on. Like, we've got to make sure we are managing that level of fear, because fear will cause you, fear is that saber-toothed tiger. The tiger jumps out. It's fear. I'm sorry, I'm pointing to my frontal lobe. It's not your frontal lobe. It's in the back of your head. This is where you make sound decisions, is in the frontal lobe. So the fear overrides your frontal lobe. It disallows you to be able to make sound decisions. It doesn't allow you to be able to think clearly, to be creative, to make decisions that are in the best interest of you or anybody else around you. It just tells you to run. Yeah. And so we've got to start changing people's brains and nervous systems on a much more massive scale, which is why you should probably like, subscribe, and share this.
Like, subscribe, and share. We should do a little jingle. We can make.
I know, like, subscribe and share.
We're famous for our making a little like, subscribe and share.
It's been over 3 years. Are we going into our 4th year?
I think we're going into our 3rd. We're just about to finish, so we got a couple months away from our 3rd. I think is where we're at. We should. Okay. I don't know. We're in like 100 something episodes. Yeah, okay. But yeah, so it's so important. So I've been onboarding a new doctor, and what that does for me is it's like, it's taking my prefrontal cortex and frontal lobe, and it's like my entire being is like, let's keep it the way it's always been. Let's keep it the way it's always been. So I've had to really work hard over the last 2 weeks to work with that and stay out of this fight or flight, and like drop all the resistance and just be like, it really is going to be great. It's just what I've noticed. And I last week I was saying my brain was blitzed. And that is what the media will do to you. I'm doing it to myself just because it's a big, uncomfortable change for me. But my brain, when it's blitzed out, cannot think straight, cannot put words together right. And so if you're letting the media do that and not resourcing yourself, and then you're going to Taco Bell, you're adding a Mountain Dew on top of that, as well as a Monster drink, staying up scrolling till 2 a.m., getting up and having gajillion, ounces of caffeine, like who knows what else. We can't do it like that. We have to get to the place where we're resourced. It's been more important for me than ever, as I'm going through this big shift in an awesome way, is to make sure that I'm fueled and I'm rested, because ain't nobody want me to come in here without my full access to my free prefrontal cortex. We can't do it in fight or flight. Doesn't work out like that.
And I want to encourage everyone to, was it Dunkin' Donuts or Tim Hortons? One of those two. They just rolled out their oversized summer coffee drink thing. You guys, it's literally a bucket. And they're showing people like getting this bucket. It has a straw in the top. It's friggin' giant. It has to be a half gallon, maybe a gallon. It's huge. And they're showing people, and they're putting a straw in it. And like, I got my bucket for the day. And it's nothing but sugar and caffeine and whatever other garbage is in there. But it's summer and it's refreshing. We can't be doing that either. Let's not play into the marketing and the advertising. And I would say, just say no.
Yeah. I love it. It's really true. So yeah. So as we roll into summer, as we finish up spring, which is still quite a ways, thinking about what can you do now, what's important now, and then right now, and then what's important next. Like, what can we do to make sure that we do have the best summer, that we're set up well, and that then what can we, for moving forward, like what habits can we put in place now, and how can we make sure that we are just thriving and we're ready, we're in the blocks, and we're at the ready for all the opportunities that make life so fulfilling and so full. Mm-hmm. What can we do so that we are in the blocks at our mark, on your mark, get set, and we're just taking on the days, we're squeezing the juice out of the days. So yeah.
And that whole preparation, the preparation, are you ready to, and then being able to do the things that you want to do, but also, if you get sick, your body is prepared and fueled to heal you faster.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're going to if you're already coming from a depleted tank, you don't have as much. And this is when you get sick over and over and over again and constant Z-Paks and antibiotics. And we've had that conversation. Like that is not, we don't lean into that either. So, just build that foundation so that you are preparing your body for anything that comes along. So, awesome. Well, you guys, that was amazing. Thank you so much for joining. Make sure you share, and subscribe. We're going to create a song.
Subscribe and share.
Woo, woo, woo. And we will see you next week for another episode of Chiropractic is Sexy. Thank you all for being here and joining us. Appreciate you.